Hi, this is Chris from Revenge Performance. Today we are going to start our review series on a Clutch Masters twin disc clutch for the 3000 GT and Dodge Stealth. A couple things we're going to start out with just to introduce this clutch. First of all, Clutch Masters is a US company. They make their clutches right in the USA. That has some advantages besides the patriotic aspect of that. You also have really the ability to get things made quickly and also to your customizations. So if they have a clutch that you need to change a disc out or things like that or get rebuilt, the turnaround time is going to be a lot better with that. And we love supporting our local companies and that type of thing. They've been working on clutches since 1976, so they have a ton of experience in that area. And they also just have fantastic support. Anytime we want to email them about anything, they're getting back to us right away. It's just great. It's great that they support a platform like ours still. And that we'll talk about some of the benefits of this particular clutch a little bit later. But due to the design, they can share some parts with some other platforms, and so it's not like a turnkey 100% custom clutch just for the 3000 GT or Dodge Stealth. It is a customized flywheel with a cover and some disc. They're a little more able to cover more than one platform, and so that helps a lot too tremendously. Otherwise, there may not be an option for a twin disc like this available for us. We're going to have this on the website. As soon as you see this video, you'll be able to go to revengeperformance.com or revengeperformance.com. Either one will work. We'll have this Clutch Masters twin disc. We are also adding many other Clutch Masters products, such as their single disc clutches, their street clutches, things like that. And so you'll be able to purchase just anything from Clutch Masters you need. They also make a really nice steel flywheel, lightweight flywheel for our platform that you might want to check out. That's very, very well made. So without saying too much more about that, we're going to talk a little bit about this particular clutch and also why a twin disc might be better for you than a single. So once you get your box in from Clutch Masters, go ahead and take a look at it and make sure it's sealed up here. This tape just means that this is fresh from the factory and that nobody's been in here or returned it or anything like that. The other thing to check out is I like companies that put a little bit of extra effort into their boxes here. You can see here this real pretty icon here of this clutch. You also got the Patriot American flag here on the side, talking about how this is made in the USA. And also, finally, you can always verify your part number here. This is a 05075 TD8S-S. You'll find out soon what that S means. This is the street edition of this clutch. This is a twin disc clutch, but this has basically one organic disc in it to make the drivability on the street a little bit easier. And so we'll see that when we open this up. So let's go ahead and cut the tape. There's tape here, and then I believe there's also tape on the bottom. And I think finally there's going to be tape on the side. These are a little bit heavy objects, and so they do a good job putting them together so that this isn't coming apart on you during shipment. Once you got the tape cut on your Clutch Masters twin disc box here, go ahead and fold these flaps out a little bit. And you're going to have to fidget with it just a little, and it'll come open. Once you got that open, you got a handy torque spec sheet here. Review this. It has both your pressure plate and your flywheel torque specifications on it, as well as some tips to make sure that the length of your bolts are correct. You also get some Clutch Masters swag. You're running a great clutch like this, you want to go ahead and put that on your car, your toolbox. You also have the business card, some of their technical specialties at Clutch Masters. We'll help you out with any kind of issues you have installing this, but these guys that built the clutch also may have some great technical advice if you're running anything that you need help with. Have this padding on top. Once you get that open, you'll have a clutch alignment tool. This is particularly critical on a twin disc clutch like this. Get both the discs in alignment so it slides easily on your transmission. You should never force your transmission onto a clutch, just like any clutch, but particularly with a twin disc, both discs have to be precisely aligned to be able to slide this together. Also in the box is a brand new throwout bearing. This throwout bearing is based on a Koito unit, which is the OEM manufacturer for the 3000 GT and Stealth. It's modified slightly to fit their pressure plate fingers, so make sure you use this particular bearing when you install this. Once you get past that, you'll see on top of here your clutch cover. This is the 850 series, so this has an 8.5 inch cover and two 8.5 inch discs. As we mentioned earlier, this is also the street series, so this has one street disc and one more racy disc. So this will still hold a ton of torque capacity, but it'll be a little bit easier to drive. Also wanted to mention, this is basically driven by these stands here, these posts, these legs as some people call them. We're actually very lucky that next week we're going to open the box on a strap-driven twin disc and Clutch Masters. It may be the first one that's out there for this platform, but we have a strapped version being made right now as we speak, and that's getting shipped to us. The advantages of the straps are there won't be any rattling at idle or anything like that. With this post drive, your floaters and your pressure plate can actually move around a little bit when you shut the clutch down and you're stopped. You'll hear that characteristic twin disc clutch rattle. And that's okay, that's not hurting anything, but for some street enthusiasts that may not be an acceptable amount of noise. And so by utilizing straps, we're going to get rid of that noise completely and also make the clutch a little bit smoother to use. This clutch can definitely be driven on the street and it can be driven at the racetrack, but the strap drive is going to be even better to live with every single day. I do also want to mention that this post drive here, this is actually a little bit stronger than the strap drive. So if you have more of a race application, you may want to go with this particular part. But if you're going to drive your car every day like we do, you're going to want to take a look at the strap drive that we open up next week. Once you're in here, you'll just have the cellophane you'll want to cut. Just be careful, it's pretty thick. Sharp knife. Find a place to get in here. They do a very good job just keeping dirt out of this clutch. Any dirt or grease can impact your clutch performance. You don't want that. So we'll just cut around the circumference of this. While I'm opening this up, I'm going to talk a little bit about why you might want a twin disc over a single. The obvious reason is a twin disc, all things being equal, would have twice the capacity of a single disc. Now, all things are never equal, but what the twin disc does give them the ability to do then is actually reduce the clamping force on the pressure plate. On a single disc, you're basically limited by the amount of clamp force they can produce and the friction material. And so when you get a very high holding, high torque capacity single disc clutch, say you're getting above 500-600 wheel horsepower, that is going to necessitate a very heavy pedal and or extremely aggressive friction material that can make the clutch pretty hard to drive around town, and you may not want to live with that every day. So by going to a twin disc, most people would think, well, that's going to make it even worse, but really it doesn't. Particularly if you go with a unit like this. This unit we have here has one organic disc in it and one cerametallic disc. And so this is going to be a little bit more streetable than you might be used to with a twin disc clutch. So once we get this covering off, you'll just have some silica gel in here just to keep this from rusting. And then you have this cover assembly exposed. Let's go ahead and take this all the way out of here so you can see it. We'll place this box out of here safely. Now we're really getting to the heart of things. You can see here you have your floater plate and your pressure plate, and you'll also have your two discs in here. So you can see the organic disc up against the flywheel, and you can see the cerametallic disc up against the pressure plate. The next thing we're going to want to do, and before you'd have to install this on your car, we're going to loosen these pressure plate bolts. They're not torqued, okay, but they're just turned in a little bit. So we'll just go ahead and grab a tool quickly to turn those out. Okay, so we just have a little Allen drive tool here. We'll just take these out. These are your pressure plate bolts. Obviously don't use the stock ones. These are quite a bit longer. These aren't torqued, but I always get in the habit of taking things apart like I'm going to do it later, so I do this in a little bit of a star pattern. When you put a clutch on an engine, you should always torque your fasteners in a star pattern. Even when you're taking it off an engine, if you're going to reuse that clutch, it's a good idea to remove them in a star pattern too. That can prevent warping of the pressure plate. So I don't want to scratch this up. So we're going to go ahead and use our piece here. This is called the cover assembly. In a twin disc clutch, you have this cover. We were talking earlier, this is how Clutch Masters is able to offer a twin disc for our platform. A lot of these covers are similar, and the real customization goes in this unique steel flywheel they have. If you look over here, this has these posts that drive this pressure plate. It also has this spring drive here, which helps a little bit with the rattle. But again, the strap drive will completely eliminate rattle. You'll notice our cerametallic disc on top. You'll also notice these will all be labeled. This says pressure plate side. These have to be stacked in the right order because of these springs, but also because of the hub in here is a little bit different on some of these. So be very careful putting these back together or your clutch might be locked up. The cerametallic unit is sprung, and so the way this is going to act, it's going to act a lot like one unsprung organic unit, and then once that spring is taken up by the cerametallic unit, you'll basically have both discs. So it's going to be quite a bit smoother taking off in traffic this way. This is an 8.5-inch disc, so it's a little bit smaller than an OEM unit, which is about 9.8. That's another reason that twin disc clutch don't automatically get twice the holding capacity. They're often a little bit smaller, and part of the reason for that is we're also trying to keep the rotating mass down. The heavier your clutch assembly is, the harder it's going to be to shift your transmission. And so by having a smaller disc, you actually have moved the moment of inertia closer to the center here and reduced that quite a bit. We'll stack that there. We have here the floater. So this is kind of like a pressure plate, but this goes up against basically the flywheel side of our other disc and the what would be the pressure plate side of our interior disc. This also has all these lugs here to be driven by the clutch cover. In here we have the organic disc. This is a copper infused disc, and this is also tougher than a regular organic material. So don't let this deceive you that this is going to be burn up as easily as like a stock clutch. But do keep in mind, if you really are going all out race, you can get this disc also in cerametallic, and it's still going to be pretty drivable. This is just going to be a little bit easier to drive, which is why we chose this for our project. This also has these labels, flywheel side. So we'll go that way. So now we'll go like that. And here we have the custom flywheel for the 3000 GT or Dodge Stealth. We've got a beautiful logo, laser engraved here, made in USA, and your part number, should you ever need any kind of replacement or anything like that. It has integrated ring gear here, bolted securely, so it's not just a press fit, so it's not coming loose. Stock bolt pattern here, this will bolt right up to your stock crankshaft and serve you a long time. This is a steel flywheel, so it's a little bit heavier. Still, the overall assembly is going to be quite a bit lighter than stock, but it won't stall as easily as if this was an aluminum with an insert. Thanks so much for checking out our video. Please like and subscribe if you like this content, and please ring that bell because next week we're releasing a new video on the strapped version of this that I believe will be the first one out there for this platform.